I'm leaving Logan to catch the T. My destination, Newberry Street. Yeah, I'm in Boston, and it feels so good. I'm so excited, I got my tickets to see the Pats play, and then the Celtics, and a Fenway game, and it feels so good, and it feels so good, so good, so good. We bump our fists up in the air, so good, so good. We're living proud, so we shout it loud, and it feels so good. We spend the summer down at the Common, and in the winter we cheer the Bruins. The weather doesn't make the city, it's the people, and it feels so good. And it feels so good. So good, so good. We bump our fists up in the air. So good, so good. We're living proud, so we shout it loud. And it feels so good. And it feels so good. So good, so good. So we never really care. So good, so good. And we work all day and we play all night. And it feels so good. Neighbors, students, every day is a chance to make new friends. Family, you and me, all the children are building communities. Celebrate, always, everywhere we go, we want the world to know. And it feels so good. We pop our fists up in the air. We're living proud, so we shout it loud, and it feels so good. Well, on a Friday night, we'll still start a fight. Yeah, she'll bash a bottle right off your head. She'll give you a smile while you talk for a while, but you're never gonna get in her bed. She's got a body of a goddess, mind like a man. She'll always tell you where she stands, 'cause she's been drinking with the boys, talking about them dirty things that she enjoys. She wears her shirts real low, her skirts real high.
Good morning, my fellow fallopian tube winners. How are you today? I'm Bumpa, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful daily Pissah morning show. I hope everyone's doing well today. I'm a little tired, so I am running a little late. I know that. I had to catch up, pull some stuff together. Not a whole lot to talk about today, but just a few things to kind of wake up to and say hello to. And I hope you got your coffee, your booze, whatever you might need. But hey, if you're in the room, chat room, whether it be Facebook or Twitch, YouTube, say hello. I try to answer everybody, but sometimes it's a little difficult being on the multiple things we got going here. But definitely say hello. We like to talk to people, like to know if people are watching. If you ever have any topics or anything you want me to talk about, please let me know. Share them with us. We'd like, whoops, don't mind that. We'd love to hear about it and love to share it. So we don't have a whole lot to talk about. One thing I want to talk about, though, that I brought up yesterday during general conversation with someone, is that you know how a lot of restaurants are closed because of COVID. Now, there are or other not retailers as well, some stores, small stores, but they choose to be closed. Like rather than adhere to reduced restriction, they choose to be closed altogether, and that is mind-boggling because now rather than taking a smaller customer base, they rather take none. And while for some they might have their reasons for doing that because it's just not enough money, they still have to pay rent. They're not paying employees now. Employees that you should be working are not. They're probably collecting unemployment, which is kind of a burden on a system that's already strained. And some of them are also applying. Some of those businesses are also applying for relief or aid related to the COVID. Again, another burden on the system. And to me, I rather a business, file for aid or get some type of assistance, but still be open. Even if it is only 25 or 40%, depending whatever it is where you are. A lot of places down to 40% capacity or 50%. Was recently here in Massachusetts down to 25%. But I know everywhere is a little different, but we are to reduce capacity. And but wouldn't you rather see them do a little bit rather than nothing? I don't know. And then less of a burden on the whole system. I just think to me that's what makes sense. I don't like the fact that they're just like, you know what, we're going to close. We can't be open at all. We're just going to not be open at all. It's just mind-boggling to me because I've seen so many restaurants that are closed, and there'll be a sign due to COVID-19 restrictions. We are closed. Why? It's not. Honestly, it's not that hard to adhere to the restrictions. Some places may have that because the design or layout are just too small to have more than a couple of tables or 6 feet apart. So, but at least convert to takeout. And I know takeout for a lot of places is not a huge winner. Some places have done well with the takeout because some people are still going out. People still want to eat out, even if it's a takeout. It's still one way of going out in these trying times that we're not able to do. So, it's mind-boggling that they just dismiss it. And I can get the costs associated with some could be a problem. They're putting up plexiglass barriers and whatnot. Can be pricey because it's expensive. If your business was already struggling as it is, you're not going to be quick to put that up. So I get that, but it's a shame. It's really sad that they do that. Where am I? I want to know if I am on Facebook Live. Anyone out there in Facebook world, please say hello. Uh, so how has everybody been doing as far as weather-wise? We are buried up in snow up to our asses here. Um, Someone recently shared this on a Facebook message to me, kind of funny, and you will, hold on. Sorry, I don't. Bear with me. All right. I can't really pronounce her name correctly. Jen Psaki. She is the Biden's new press secretary. And here, somebody sent me this she looks like Chuckette, a female version of Chucky, the wonderful the doll from all the horror films. Um, One thing with her, I've been reading a lot that she's asking that journalists give their questions ahead of time to prepare her to answer them. Now, I call it bullshit. That's what I say. Just bullshit. Nope, not allowed. Why would you do that? If you can't answer, if you need time to come up with a bullshit answer instead of just answering straightforward on the spot, then fuck you. You're covering up. It's just bullshit. And why do you need time to if you can't answer? You don't have a clue what the fuck your boss is doing. Um, and I think that uh, she she needs to really take a big look at that because the fact that now that's just going to create more suspicions in the office. But I'd love to know what anyone else thinks about that. I think I read that recently that she was not going to, she's trying to steer clear from having to answer a question on the spot, and she wants questions ahead of time. No, I don't think doesn't that like defeat the purpose of being able to put her on the spot like that, right? Uh, I don't understand why she thinks that would be funny or helpful. I'd love to see some feedback on that. And trying to get into the Facebook chat room right here. See if there's anything. Oh, but yeah, and I did like the picture though, showing that she comparing her to Chucky, called her Chuckette. Now that's going to stick with me for a while. I am going to refer to Biden's press secretary as Chuckette. Well deserved in my mind. I think I'm just, and I have barely watched her or paid any attention to her, but I am very bothered by that. She thinks that that's okay. But yeah, and I did like the, but I think it's definitely something that needs to be visited by the journalist, and they need to continue to hound her on that. Also, another one. Oh, now this here, a lot of people. This is a good debate topic, and I'd love to hear what everyone else has to say about this. And I'll tell you my 2 cents, whether you fucking like it or not. That's just the way it is going to be on this fucking show. My opinion matters. Yours do not. Just kidding. I do want your opinion. I want to hear everyone's opinions. But in this sense right here, the $15 minimum wage. Now, this is, everyone wants to make more money. Of course they want to make more money, right? Who doesn't want to make more money? It's fucking bullshit if you don't think everyone, if we think everyone should make more money. I get that. We all want to make more money. But in reality, no, everyone cannot make more money. And why is that? People say, oh, well, we've raised minimum wage before and it's been okay. Companies been handled without layoffs. Yeah, when you're making 25 cent, 50 cent an hour raises, that's okay. That, companies can handle that kind of thing. When you're talking about what would be for a lot of states, $5, $6, $7 an hour raise, you're doubling what their wages are currently now. And for most companies, the number one expense on any of their sheets, the financial sheets, is that wages, salaries is the number one expense of any company or business. Is usually wages, unless if it's a very small business, they don't have that many employees. But so once you get more than like 2 or 3 employees, typically your company's number one expense is salary. And now when you go to a company, even if it is Arby's or whatever the hell it is, and I know every state right now is different on the minimum wage, but if you go to one of those other states that's really low, say, I don't know, not $8 or $9 an hour, and now you make it $15 from $8, that is almost doubling their salary expense. Now, that's going to eat into their profits. Now, a lot of these are big companies that you're going to interfere with. And when you take away money out of their profit line, how do you think they're going to come back with that? One is they're going to raise prices. And now they can't, some people say, oh, they're going to, a burger will be, instead of being like a $2 burger, it'll be a $6 burger. No, not really. I mean, it will climb a little bit, yeah, because they can't price themselves out that then they can't make sales. What they have to do is trim their expenses. And how do they trim their expenses? They cut staff. And if you don't believe me, it's just a known fact. Any company that has, reduced sales or a reduced profit margin, what's the first thing usually to go once, they manage the other operational expenses? And typically these companies that have been operating for a long time are already on a lean budget. Some of these, especially franchise food places, they count every fucking burger, every sandwich, every order of fries made. And they count that because that's how they know how much the franchisee is selling and how much they should be making. They account for every damn burger. And, I know this as a kid in high school. I worked for Wendy's. And at Wendy's, they had to account for every sandwich. Even a screw up, you didn't throw it away. It didn't go right into the trash. It went into this little bin on the side. And in that bin, during the end of the day, the manager would account for what would be like a single burger or the junior burger, had to account for all those burgers to write off as, mistakes or whatever. They could write off but it has to be accounted for. And that is how franchises make their money, make sure they're getting their money properly, because, they get huge royalties, a chunk of the sales, all that. So it's very important. And, so I don't see how people think that bringing up minimum wage to $15 an hour is the complete solution. And that is however people don't see it, I don't know why, but it's going to bring up inflation. Okay, if suddenly your pay is double than what you were making before, um, then in general, if everyone's making more money, everyone can afford a little bit more. So that means companies can bring up their prices. If you Because they have to bring up their prices too. Say a gallon of milk instead of being $3 will be now $5. Whatever wherever it is where you are now, it will go up because now think about it that those companies they also have to pay more for their employees. And if you don't think so, right now, say an employee, I don't know, a receptionist at a company is, a young receptionist at a company is getting 15, $16 an hour. Now, but burger flippers are going to get $15 an hour. Meanwhile, your receptionist or secretary or whatever is making $1 or more an hour. What is to keep her from doing that to go flip burgers? And there's a lot of things because people don't want to flip burgers. But now you'll have other people that are in a somewhat of a trade or some type of trained position more than flipping burgers. Some type of technician or something making somewhere say in the $15 to $18 an hour range. Now just over what would be the minimum wage. Now those people are going to expect a pay raise. If you in these fast food places, a supervisor, manager, and a lot of them aren't even making $15 an hour now. So now suddenly those managers, supervisors, you're going to bump them up. I hope so, because now you can't pay them the same as the flipper, right? If the flipper who was making $10 an hour last week suddenly is making $15 this week, and I get it also, it's supposed to be over a couple of years that the increases go, but that is fairly rapid in succession, and that's going to hit the bottom line quick. So someone who was making, $12, $13 an hour last year, suddenly $15 an hour as a supervisor pay rate. Now the supervisor is going to want 17, $18 an hour. Again, now that's going to affect the company's bottom line also. They jack up every supervisor's pay. I think a lot of people need to think about all of that stuff. The trickle, not just the bottom guy, but it's going to trickle all the way up. Because think about all of the people that are already making $15, $16 an hour. And those people that have put in years in certain jobs, years to get to that level, especially in a retail job. Someone who's worked for a store, a retailer for, Christ, probably 10 years to get to $15 an hour now because, 10 years ago, minimum wage was so low. They started at $9, $8, well, it depends where, every state's different, but say in Massachusetts, they started at $9 an hour 10 years ago. And, now they busted their ass to get to what would be, I don't know, 13, $14 an hour. Now, yeah, they'll get a pay raise, but now the same new people are getting the same as what that person spent 10 years busting the hump for. You need to reward them pay-wise equally. So if they were making $4 or $5 more an hour than a newbie, they need to be making $4 or $5 an hour more than a newbie. So now they're going to be 18, 19, 20, $21 an hour. And that, again, money. People don't see that. They're just looking at, oh, well, everybody makes $15 an hour. That's great. No, it's going to trickle upward. Everyone needs that pay increase, not just the bottom people, because the people that weren't the bottom, now the bottom people. It's just going to be, to me, I see it as a mess. And if you don't think inflation is going to follow, I think you're sleeping on something, because inflation will follow. And it's just, it always does follow. And people will argue that, well, minimum wage doesn't keep up with inflation. It does. Every time someone gets a raise, minimum inflation comes up with it. And people say, oh, well, minimum wage hasn't been raised in a while. Right. Minimum wage hasn't been raised in a while, but those employees that were making minimum wage last year, typically the next year not making a minimum wage. They get a raise, whether it be 10 cents, 30 cents, whatever, they get a raise. And then so within 2-3 years, they're no longer at minimum wage, they're up a little bit. So that's where that inflation can come creep up with it. Now, if everyone rockets up a bit, well, inflation is going to come up a little more steady than just a little bit at a time, in small increments. And it's going to be right there eventually. If everyone can afford, another grand a month in life because they're making $1,000 more a month, well, you know what? You can afford another $400 or $500 in rent. Your landlord will think. The housing market will also reflect that. You know, the economy in itself is not going to let you live like the rich king you want to be. You regardless if we bumped everyone to 30 or 40 bucks an hour, everything's going to follow with that because everything's going to cost money behind that. These companies aren't just going to be, oh, all right, we'll just pay everybody. No, especially like say a Walmart. Multiple investors. It's not just the CEO's fault. It's the multiple investors, which could be you. You watching this, maybe you own some of that stock in GameStop or whatever, but you want that company to do well, whether it be just in the stock market like GameStop because you want to get in and get out, but for other companies that long-term investors like Walmart, Disney, you need that company to do well, and that includes the overall income, the revenue, the profit margin. You don't have profit margins, investors are not getting their dividends. And also if there's no profit margins, the stock value doesn't go up. So it's all tied into the money. And why would I invest in a company that's not going to make money or pay me dividends? Say I bought into one of those companies that paid dividends, I'm making nice money every year, a little extra check on top of my stock value. And now I'm no longer getting that because the company's not making enough money. My stock value has gone down. I've lost money that I invested into the company. So now when I go to these shareholder meetings, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to be pressuring the management to do more about that, make money. But I don't care if we have to increase prices, cut staff. Because obviously by law we have to pay these people X amount of dollars. Well, that's fine. Maybe don't need as many people anymore. Especially now with the self checkouts. And as it is, you go to a Walmart, it has 30 fucking registers and there's 2 manned registers open, and then there's 8 to 12 self checkouts. They're already doing that. They're already cutting corners as far as the labor aspect. And it's just going to be crazy that people don't see that minimum wage is going to have it's not going to have the effect that I'm just talking about right there. Because no doubt. And, going into the money and corporate greed, as many will say, and I don't believe in corporate greed. I think, all right, maybe I should backpedal a little bit. Hi, Mike. What's up? Thanks for checking us out, man. But I believe in corporate greed? There is a little bit, because, like, if there's a part where you become like Ebenezer Scrooge, you just want money, 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 then that's corporate greed. But typically people bitch about corporate greed that because they don't pay their employees enough, they should be paying them more than this because the company makes a lot of money. Well, for one, if you own a business, your goal is to make money. It's not to, maybe you, as a smaller business, you start out, hey, I want to pay these employees are helping me well, I want to pay them well. I don't need to make as much money as that. I get that. But then as you grow and you're making more and more money, you don't need, it sounds, I guess it would be sound greedy, but you don't need to dish it all out to everybody. And you're not required to. If you are paying people a decent wage, which to me is over minimum wage, you're already paying people over minimum wage for the basic jobs, and you pay them appropriately steps up, then you're doing your part. You're offering benefits. And a lot of these companies offer great benefits. Some do not, and again, that's to the company. And the employee that works for those companies that bitch that they get poor pay, poor benefits, they chose to work for that company. And, some people argue, well, that was the only person hiring. Maybe so at that time, but you're not stuck there. You choose to be stuck there. If they, McDonald's, your local franchise, McDonald's, giving you shit pay, shit benefits, well, then look for another franchise, whether it be McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, that maybe pay a little better or have at least a better health insurance or something like that. But that brings me to the next guy here, the billionaire galore, Jeff Bezos, however you say it, Bezos, stepping down as Amazon CEO. But don't be misled by the headline. The man is sticking around. He is going to be chairman of the board, executive chairman of the board. The motherfucker still owns the ship. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of money. A lot of good chunk of the company is still his. He's made his billions. And he's basically simply, in my mind, semi-retiring. He owns a lot of, he operates a lot of philanthropy organizations, foundations, and stuff like that. He wants to be able to focus on that. Let me tell you, when you're worth the billions this guy's worth, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Okay, he's got putting his number two man basically in charge of the company, and he's still going to be watching over the day to day type thing. He just doesn't have to be as stressed. He's putting someone else in charge of the day to day management. But he's going to keep that's his baby. He built this up. Is he a smart guy? Absolutely, but he's also very lucky at what he built up. He built up something, just putting a few books online, and then added more categories, and the thing exploded. But don't be fooled that Jeff is stepping down. There's nothing like he's not leaving. Nobody's forcing him out. Nobody is because of some people complain the way he treats his employees. None of that is true. And he simply, in my mind, like I said, simply retiring. Partially retiring, and again, Muko bucks here. The guy makes a shit ton of cash. Why does he need to? He doesn't need to go away. He just has the time to. He has the time to not have to do anything, right? So if you were this billionaire who started the company in 1994, I think it was, and you're worth all this fucking money, you got more money than you ever imagined banked up. And honestly, right now, he's got enough money banked up. If Amazon tanked tomorrow, the man is still good for the rest of the next 3 generations of his life, or whatever. But obviously, the whole thing is to keep the money pouring into him as he's about to dish a bunch out through all his foundations and philanthropy. He wants money to keep coming, and then he looks like Mr. Awesome, filthy, stinking rich. Give him money galore to all the different organizations. Life is good that way. And then another story you had going on to living the high life, building your way up for minimum wage, living the high life. Now we have the dead life. Here we go. We have a man, I don't remember his name. He's 92 years old, however. In Portugal, they had told the family that he died. And, of course, they had a funeral for him. And 18 days later, he showed up at home. Surprise! What happened was and this happened, I reported last week, a similar incident in Spain for an elderly woman in her 80s. Same thing, the hospital notified the wrong family. And the family was, in this case here in Portugal, they did not allow the family to see the body because of COVID. So now that makes you think about they're not allowed to have open caskets because of COVID. So I wonder how many other people are going to pop up. How many really have? I haven't really researched that. It's probably happened more than we can think of because there's not that extra level of security to check to validate that person. You can't look at the body anymore. So you have no idea who's going in the ground. And whether it be that they died in the hospital from COVID, they died in a motor vehicle accident, they got murdered, whatever, other health problems. You can't see who's in that casket. So you have no idea who the fuck's in that casket. And in most cases, you can't go to the hospital to visit, so you have no idea if they actually died or not. So this COVID stuff is absolutely ridiculous. And as far as when I say ridiculous, I think it's from the hospital aspect. When someone is on what would be their deathbed, there needs to be exceptions made. Give the family a mask, go in. It's just absolutely mind-boggling for me that would happen. Let me just throw in something here. Hold on.
The Wicked Pissah Show. Bumpa, Byron, and Patty Cakes. No bullshit talk radio. Wicked cool. Wicked funny. Wicked Pissah.
This rock star with no fame, the way it is for everyone.
So that's a plug, shameless plug for the Wicked Pissah Show. Check us out. I don't know when our next show is yet. There's 3 of us. We do usually hour and a half, 2 hours. Trying to get it down to an hour and a half, but it's usually about a 2 2 to 3 hour show. We just shoot the shit. We drink a lot, and shit kind of gets crazy. But check us out. You can find us on Facebook. I don't know when the next show is going to be. And there's 3 of us. We all have 3 different work schedules. So it doesn't always pan out well. So there's myself, there's Byron, and Patty Cakes, my dear partner there. But that, I think, is all I have for us today. It's a short show, I know. I just wanted to get a few opinion points out. If you have any other opinion points like that, some funny memes, send it to me. Tomorrow I'll do the same as far as I like to go over some funny stuff and then some stories and just kind of vent on some stuff like the minimum wage. Tell me what you think about the minimum wage. Put it in the comments. If you see any other funny or good news articles that I should talk about, let me know. I love that stuff. Same thing if it's a funny YouTube video, Facebook video, send it my way. Funny memes, I'll take those too. Any fucking funny pictures. I love hilarity and anything funny, anything a good debate topic too. Send them my way. And again, if you don't like profanity, you probably shouldn't check out this show because my mouth is unfiltered a lot of times in early morning. And I usually, when I'm here, this is my first cup of coffee of the day. Ooh, excuse me. But with that, I am Bumpa, and this is the Daily Pissah Morning Show. Thank you for checking us out, and hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Let's see what you have. Let's see what I have. We'll make it a date.
Until it's over, look at what we've done. There are times where things may get too hard. Just wanna go all in, just to get rid of your cards. Say the grass is greener on the other side. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You are fake news.
What am I muffin?
I'm Bruce Nolan for Eyewitness News. Back to you, fuckers.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.